The sky over Seoul was gray again. It had been gray for 3 years now. Hyun stood at the window of the research facility and watched the empty streets below. Once, millions of people lived in this city. Now, maybe 10,000 remained. The rest were dead or had fled to the southern colonies, hoping to find clean air and water. Hyun was a scientist. He had spent his entire life studying diseases and trying to save people. Now he faced a disease he could not stop. They called it the Gray Death. It started with a cough, then fever, then the skin turned gray like ash. After that, death came quickly. No medicine worked. No treatment helped. People just died. He heard footsteps behind him. Nari entered the lab, her military uniform dusty from the outside world. She was a commander, one of the few still trying to keep order in the chaos. Her face was tired, with dark circles under her eyes. She had not slept well in months. How many today? Hyun asked without turning around. 43 dead in the Western Zone, maybe 100 more infected. Nari's voice was flat. She had stopped showing emotion weeks ago. There were too many dead to mourn anymore. Hyun nodded slowly. The numbers were getting smaller, but not because the disease was stopping. There were simply fewer people left to die. We need to evacuate the Western Zone completely, Nari continued. Move everyone to the southern facility. We cannot protect them there anymore. The southern facility is full, Hyun said. We have no room. Then we make room, Nari said. Or, we leave them to die, where they are. Before Hyun could answer, the door burst open. Taeyong ran inside, his young face bright with excitement. He was only 25, the youngest engineer in the facility. Unlike everyone else, Taeyong still had hope. The signal, Taeyong shouted. Someone answered the signal. Hyun and Nari stared at him. For 30 years, Earth had been sending distress signals into space. Every major government, before they collapsed, had sent the same message. We are dying. Please help. No one had ever answered. Most people believed no one was out there. Or if they were, they did not care about humans. What do you mean? Hyun asked carefully. Taeyong pulled out his datapad, his hands shaking with excitement. A ship! A massive ship just appeared near the moon. They sent a message. They said they are coming to help us. Nari's hand moved to her weapon. A ship? What kind of ship? Is it military? I don't know, Taeyong admitted. But they said they received our distress signal. They said they are bringing medicine and equipment. They said they can help us. Hyun felt something strange in his chest. It took him a moment to recognize the feeling. Hope. He had not felt hope in a very long time. When will they arrive? He asked. 2 days, Taeyong said. They are landing in the Beijing zone. They want to meet with whatever government leaders are left. Nari shook her head. There are no government leaders anymore. Just survivors trying not to die. She looked at Hyun. We should go. If this is real, we need to be there. 3 days later, Hyun stood in what used to be Beijing. The city was as dead as Seoul. Empty buildings reached toward the gray sky like the bones of a giant creature. In the center of the city, in an old landing zone, a ship waited. The ship was beautiful. It looked like it was made of crystal and light, shimmering in colors Hyun had no names for. It was huge, bigger than any building nearby. And standing in front of it were the aliens. The Velan did not look like humans at all. They were tall, maybe 8 feet high, and their bodies seemed to be made of living crystal. Light moved inside them like water. They had no faces as humans understood faces. But somehow Hyun could feel them watching him. One of the Velan moved forward. When it spoke, the words came not from a mouth but from the air itself. A translator device made the words into Korean. We are the Velan. We received your distress signal 47 years ago. We have traveled far to reach you. We have come to help. Nari stepped forward, her hand still on her weapon. Why? What do you want from us? The Velan tilted its head, a gesture that seemed almost human. Want? We want nothing. You are dying. It is our duty as an elder species to help younger species when we can. That is enough reason. Nothing is free, Nari said. Everyone wants something. We do not, the Velen said simply. We will give you the medicine for your plague. We will give you machines to clean your air and water. We will teach you how to repair your world. When we are finished, we will leave. You owe us nothing. Hyun found himself speaking. Why would you do this? You don't know us. We are strangers to you. The Velen was quiet for a moment. Then it said, Long ago, when my people were young, we nearly died. Another species helped us. They asked for nothing. They told us to help another species when we could. Now we help you. Perhaps one day, you will help another. Over the next 6 months, the Velen saved humanity. They brought medicine that cured the gray death in days. They brought machines that cleaned the poisoned air and purified the toxic water. They taught human engineers how to rebuild the cities and restore the farms. Hyun worked with them every day. He learned more in those 6 months than he had in his entire life. The Velan were patient teachers. They answered every question and explained everything carefully. Taeyang followed the Velen everywhere, soaking up knowledge like a sponge. He called them angels. Hyun thought that was too simple. They were not angels. They were just good. They helped because it was the right thing to do. Nari remained suspicious for weeks, but even she could not deny the truth. The Velen asked for nothing. They took no resources. They demanded no payment. They just helped. When the 6 months ended, Earth was healing. The sky was blue again. People were returning to the cities. Children were being born healthy. Humanity would survive. The Velan prepared to leave. Hyun, Nari, and Taeyang stood with a crowd of thousands, watching the crystal ship power up for departure. Wait, Taeyang shouted. We must pay you. We must give you something. You saved us. The Velen representative turned back. You owe us nothing, but we must, Taeyang insisted. Please. Name anything. We will find a way to give it to you. Ah, the Velan was quiet. Then it said, If you must give us something, give us this. Help another species when you can, when you are strong enough. When you find another species that is dying, help them. That is payment enough. The ship rose into the sky, beautiful and bright. And then it was gone. Hyun looked at the blue sky and felt tears on his face. He had forgotten what blue sky looked like. He had forgotten what hope felt like. Beside him, Taeyang whispered, We will remember this. We will never forget what they did for us. Nari nodded slowly. No, she agreed. We will never forget. They did not know it then. But those words would change the galaxy forever. 50 years had passed since the Velan saved humanity. Minho stood on the observation deck of the diplomatic station and looked at the stars. So many stars. Humanity now traveled to hundreds of them. They had colonies on 40 worlds and trade agreements with 60 alien species. The dying world of his grandfather's stories seemed like ancient history now, but humanity remembered. They always remembered. Minho was an ambassador now, representing Earth in the Galactic Council. It was a prestigious job, one his grandfather Taeyang had prepared him for. The old man had spent his entire life making sure humanity never forgot what the Velen had done. Before he died, he made Minho promise to honor that debt. Ambassador Minho? A voice interrupted his thoughts. It was Sora, a xenoanthropologist who studied how different species thought and behaved. She was brilliant, with sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. We have a problem. Minho turned. What kind of problem? Sora pulled up a holographic display. It showed a star system far from human space. This is the Velen home system. Their star is dying. Minho felt his heart stop. What? A cosmic anomaly, Sora explained. A wave of exotic radiation passed through their system 5 years ago. It is causing their star to collapse early. Maybe 50 years before it goes nova. The Valan are trying to evacuate, but they have billions of people. They cannot save everyone. Have they asked for help? Minho asked. No. Sora shook her head. The Velen never ask for help. It is not in their nature. They give, but they do not take. The Galactic Council knows about it, but no one is doing anything. It is too far away, too expensive. Most species say it is not their problem. Minho stared at the display. He saw the Velen system, so far from Earth. He thought about the crystal beings who had traveled across the galaxy to save humanity when they were dying, those beings who asked for nothing in return. Get me a meeting with the Human Council, he said quietly. All representatives. Immediately. Minho, what are you thinking? Sora asked carefully. I am thinking that 50 years ago, the Valen saved us. Now they are dying. And we are going to save them. 1 week later, Minho stood before the entire Human Council. Holographic representatives from every human colony filled the chamber. Fleet Admiral Jawan sat in the front row, his old military uniform perfect and pressed. He was a war hero, a man who had built humanity's first deep space navy. I am proposing the Gratitude Initiative, Minho said. His voice was steady, but inside he was nervous. What he was about to suggest was insane. The Valen are dying. Their star is collapsing. We have the technology to stabilize it, but it will require enormous resources. I am suggesting we redirect 70% of our economy toward saving them. Silence filled the chamber. Then someone laughed. Then someone else. Within seconds, half the council was laughing or shouting. 70%? One representative shouted. Are you insane? That will bankrupt us. We will have food riots, another yelled. People will starve. The Valan are thousands of light years away, a third added. It is not our problem. Minho waited for the noise to die down. Then he spoke again, his voice soft but clear. 50 years ago, we were dying. The whole human species was dying. The Valan came. They asked for nothing. They saved us all. They taught us how to live again. They gave us the technology that lets us stand here today, arguing about economics. He paused. They never asked for payment. They never demanded thanks. They just helped us because it was right. Now they are dying. And you say it is not our problem? The chamber was quiet now. Sora stood up from her seat. I have studied human culture for 20 years, she said. The near extinction changed us. Every human child learns about the Grey Death. Every school teaches about the Valan. It is burned into our culture. We are a species defined by that moment when we almost died and someone saved us. She looked around the chamber. Gratitude is not just a feeling for us anymore. It is who we are. If we do not help the Valan, we are not human anymore. We become something else, something worse. Fleet Admiral Jawan stood up. The old soldier's face was hard. I commanded ships when we had nothing. When we were struggling just to survive. The Velen could have ignored us. They could have said we were too far away, too expensive, not their problem. He looked at the council. But they did not. They came anyway. He turned to Minho. I support the Gratitude Initiative. I will redirect every military resource we have. We will save them. One by one, representatives began to stand. Some had tears in their eyes. Others looked determined. Within an hour, the vote was called. 94% voted yes. Humanity would save the Valan, no matter the cost. The news spread across human space like wildfire. Factories converted to building stellar equipment. Scientists dropped their projects to work on star stabilization. Volunteers signed up by the millions to join the construction crews. Other alien species watched with confusion. The Galactic Council sent a delegation to Earth, trying to understand. Minho met with them in the council chambers. The alien representatives looked at the humans with something like disbelief. This is madness, one alien said. It was a Tormen, a species that valued logic above all else. You will destroy your economy. Your people will suffer. All this for one species that is not even closely allied with you? They saved us, Minho said simply. We do not forget that. But it was 50 years ago, another alien protested. Most of your people were not even alive then. Why do they care? Sora leaned forward. Because we teach them to care. Every human knows the story. We make sure they know. The Valan gave us everything. And asked for nothing. That kind of gift demands a response. The Torment shook its head. You are spending your future to pay for your past. It is illogical. Perhaps, J1 said. But it is human. We remember our debts. We honor those who helped us. If that makes us illogical, so be it. The aliens left, confused and concerned. Across the galaxy, other species began to whisper. Humanity was doing something insane. They were bankrupting themselves for one alien race. It made no sense, but Minho did not care what other species thought. He stood in the command center and watched the reports coming in. Ships being built. Resources being gathered. Volunteers signing up faster than they could be processed. We are really doing this, Sora said beside him. She sounded amazed. We are actually going to try. We are not going to try, Minho corrected her. We are going to succeed. The Velen saved us when we were dying. Now we save them. That is not negotiable. That is not optional. That is what humans do. J1 approached them, a datapad in his hand. The fleet will launch in 6 months. 10,000 ships. Every major colony is contributing. We are calling it the Gratitude Fleet. He looked at Minho. Your grandfather would be proud. He spent his life making sure we remembered. Now the whole species is showing that we did. Minho felt tears in his eyes. He thought about his grandfather, the young engineer who had watched the crystal ship leave Earth so long ago, the man who had promised to remember. We remember, Minho whispered. Grandfather, we remember. Outside the station, the first ships were already launching. They were heading toward the Velen system, carrying humanity's impossible promise. They would save the species that had saved them, no matter what it cost. The galaxy watched and wondered what kind of species humanity really was. They were about to find out. Doyun had not slept in 36 hours. His eyes were red, and his hands shook as he guided the construction drone into position. Around him, 10,000 ships worked on the massive structure that would save the Valan star. The stellar cage, they called it, a web of energy collectors and stabilizers that would wrap around the dying sun and hold it together. It was the most ambitious project humanity had ever attempted. It was also slowly killing them. Section 47 is complete, a voice said over the comm. It was one of the construction teams. Their exhaustion clear in their tone. Moving to Section 48. Doyun checked his display. They were 3 years into the project. 12 more years to go. Maybe. If everything went perfectly. If no one else died. He thought about the casualty reports he received every day. Accidents in space. Equipment failures. People working so hard they simply collapsed and never woke up. The count was over 15,000 now. 15,000 humans dead to save the Valan. But no one was talking about stopping. No one was asking if it was worth it. A message came through from Earth. Doyun opened it and saw Unji's tired face. She was the resource coordinator, managing the entire human economy, making sure every colony had enough food, enough power, enough supplies to keep working. Doyun, we need to talk, Unji said. Even on the recording, she looked exhausted. The rationing is getting worse. People are down to basic nutrition packs. Children are asking why they cannot have toys anymore, why everything goes to the Gratitude Fleet. Doyun closed his eyes. He knew the situation on Earth and the colonies. Everything humanity produced went to the project. Food, medicine, equipment, everything. People had enough to survive, but nothing extra. No luxuries. No comfort. just survival while they poured everything into saving the Velan. What are they saying? He asked. Are people complaining? Unji was quiet for a moment. No. That is the strange part. They are not complaining. Every colony I visit, people know what is happening. They know they are living in poverty, so we can build this thing. And they accept it. Parents tell their children about the Grey Death. About the Velan. They say this is the right thing to do. She looked directly at the camera. Do-yoon, I think we have gone crazy. The whole species. We are bankrupting ourselves, starving ourselves, dying in space, all for one alien race. This is insane, but no one will stop. Because we remember, Do-yoon said softly. We remember when we were dying and they saved us. How can we do less for them? Ender, after the call ended, Do-yoon went back to work. His crew had been on duty for 20 hours. Regulations said they should rest. But his crew, like all the crews, refused. There was too much work. The Velan star was collapsing faster than predicted. They had to work faster. A ship appeared on his sensors. Do-yoon frowned. It was not a human ship. It was Velan. The crystal ship docked with the construction platform. A Velan emerged, its body shimmering with internal light. Do-yoon recognized him. Ji-hoon, they called him. It was not his real Velan name, but something humans could pronounce. He was an observer, sent by the Velan government to watch what humanity was doing. Do-yoon, Ji-hoon said. The translator made his voice sound almost human. We must talk. They went to a private room. Ji-hoon looked at the human engineer with what might have been concern. It was hard to tell with the Velan. Their crystal faces showed no expression. You must stop this, Ji-hoon said. Please. You are killing yourselves for us. Do-yoon shook his head. We will not stop. We will save your people. At what cost? Ji-hoon's voice rose. I have seen your casualty reports. I know what is happening on your worlds. Your people are starving. Your children have nothing. You are destroying your entire civilization to save ours. This is wrong. You saved us, Do-yoon said simply. When we were dying, when the whole galaxy ignored us, you came. You asked for nothing. Now you are dying, and the galaxy ignores you. So we come. We ask for nothing. We just help. We accepted our fate, Ji-hoon said. We are an old species. We have lived long. If our star dies, we die. That is natural. That is acceptable. Not to us, Do-yoon said. His voice was firm. Not to humanity. You saved us when you could have ignored us. We will not ignore you. We will not let you die when we can save you. That is not negotiable. Ji-hoon was silent for a long time. Then he said quietly, You frighten me. Your species frightens me. This obsession, this need to repay a debt we never wanted you to have. It is not normal. It is not healthy. Maybe not, Do-yoon agreed. But it is human. We remember. We always remember. Years passed. The stellar cage grew larger. More humans died. More resources were consumed. Earth and all the colonies lived in poverty. Everything sacrificed for the project. Other alien species sent observers too. They watched humanity work with something like horror. The Tormen calculated that humanity would take 50 years to recover economically. The Drexen said humans were committing species suicide. The Galactic Council held debates about whether to intervene, to stop humanity from destroying themselves, but no one tried to stop them. Because everyone could see it. The determination in human eyes. The absolute refusal to give up. If anyone tried to stop them, humanity would go to war. They would fight the entire galaxy to save the Velan. So the galaxy watched and stayed away. They watched a species slowly kill themselves out of gratitude. Unji visited the construction site in year 14. She looked thin, worn. Managing the human economy had aged her 20 years. We are almost there, Do-yoon told her. 1 more year. Maybe 2. The cage will be complete. Will we survive it? Unji asked. Will humanity survive this? Does it matter? Doyun asked. If we let the Velen die when we could save them, we would not be human anymore. We would be something worse. Better to die as humans than live as something we hate. Unji nodded slowly. She understood. Every human understood. Finally, after 15 years, the stellar cage was complete. Millions of humans watched as the device activated. Energy flowed through the web of collectors and stabilizers. The cage wrapped around the Velan star, holding it together, stopping the collapse. It worked. The Velan star stabilized. The nova was prevented. Billions of Velan were saved. Humanity cheered. They celebrated in the streets despite having almost nothing. They had done it. They had saved the species that saved them. Doyun stood on the bridge of his command ship and wept. 15,000 humans had died. Millions more had suffered. The entire human economy was destroyed. But the Velen lived. Jihun approached him. The Velen observer had watched the entire project, growing more disturbed each year. Now, he looked at Doyun with what might have been awe or fear. Maybe both. You did it, Jihun said. You actually did it. You saved us. We told you we would, Doyun said. I know, Jihun said softly. That is what frightens me. Humanity makes a promise and keeps it, no matter the cost, no matter how many die, no matter what is destroyed. He paused. The galaxy is going to learn a lesson today. When humanity loves you, when they are grateful to you, there is no force in the universe that can stop them from protecting you. He looked at the stellar cage, the impossible structure humanity had built through sheer determination. You are the most terrifying species in the galaxy, Jihun whispered. Not because you are violent, but because when you love someone, you love them to death. Yours or theirs. You will die for those you are grateful to. What species can stand against that? Doyun smiled tiredly. None, he said. The galaxy will learn. When you help humanity, we never forget. We never forgive debts. We repay them, no matter what it costs us. He looked at Earth in the distance, the blue planet that had almost died so long ago, the planet the Velan saved. We remember, Doyun said. The galaxy will learn. Humanity always remembers. 20 years after the Velen rescue, humanity had recovered. The economy was stable again. Children had toys. People had food beyond basic nutrition packs. The colonies thrived. Trade with the Velen had made both species prosperous, but the galaxy had changed. Every species now knew the truth about humanity. They remembered. They never forgot. And they repaid their debts with terrifying determination. Yuna sat in the Galactic Council chambers, representing humanity. She was young for a senator, only 42. But she carried herself with authority. Around her, representatives from 100 species debated the latest crisis. The Tormen representative was speaking. The human doctrine must be addressed. It is destabilizing the entire galactic order. Yuna raised her hand. What doctrine? The Tormen turned to her. The gratitude doctrine. Your species' obsession with repaying any kindness shown to you. It has created a dangerous precedent. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a battle. Human warships fighting against pirate fleets. The footage was brutal. The humans showed no mercy. This was the Tormen incident, the Tormen said. 20 years ago, my people shared medical research with humanity. Basic data on treating radiation sickness. We asked for nothing. It was simply a friendly exchange between allies. The hologram shifted. It showed more battles. Human ships destroying pirate bases. Human marines storming illegal outposts. Last year, pirates attacked 3 Tormen colonies. We requested assistance from the Galactic Council. But before the Council could respond, humanity arrived. They did not ask permission. They did not wait for authorization. They simply declared war on the entire pirate network and destroyed it. They lost 2,000 soldiers doing this. All because we once shared medical data with them. Yuna listened calmly. She remembered that incident. Seojun had commanded the operation. He was a commander in the Gratitude Corps, humanity's new military branch dedicated to protecting their friends. Another alien stood. It was a Lixar, a species of large, peaceful herbivores. The same happened to us. During the famine of 2289, my people donated food shipments to human colonies. We did not think much of it. It was simply kindness. The hologram changed again. This time it showed a war. A massive war. Human fleets fighting against the Drexen Empire. When the Drexen invaded our territory, humanity declared it an act of war against themselves. They fought a 3-year war to protect us. They lost 50,000 soldiers. They spent enormous resources, all because we once gave them food during a famine. Species after species spoke. Each told similar stories. Humanity received help, sometimes minor help, and then became obsessed with protecting those species. Any threat to humanity's friends became a threat to humanity itself. They fought wars, spent resources, died in thousands, all to protect species that had once shown them kindness. This is insane. A reptilian alien said. Your species is weaponizing gratitude. You turn every act of kindness into an eternal military alliance. Other species are afraid to help you now, because they know if they do, you will consider them your responsibility forever. You will die to protect them, whether they want protection or not. Yuna stood up. The chamber grew quiet. Everyone wanted to hear what the human would say. Is it wrong to remember kindness? Yuna asked. Is it wrong to protect those who helped us? It is wrong to be obsessed. The Torment shouted. You do not simply help your friends. You become fanatical about them. You cannot let any harm come to them. You sacrifice your own people to protect them from any threat, no matter how small. Yuna looked around the chamber. 70 years ago, humanity was dying. The whole galaxy knew. We sent distress signals for decades. No one came. No one helped. Except the Valan. They came from across the galaxy and saved us. They asked for nothing. She paused. We learned something from that. We learned that kindness is rare in the universe. When someone shows you kindness, when they help you for nothing, that is precious. That is worth protecting. Worth dying for, but you take it too far. Another alien protested. The Lixar gave you food. That does not mean you should fight wars for them. Why not? Yuna asked simply. They fed our children when our children were hungry. How is that not worth fighting for? The chamber erupted in arguments. Some aliens agreed with Yuna. Others thought humans were dangerously unstable. The debate raged for hours. Meanwhile, on a human military station, Sojun prepared his forces. He commanded the Gratitude Corps, 500 ships dedicated to protecting humanity's allies. He was reading reports of a new crisis. The Krell Empire had helped humans recently. They provided technology for better ship engines. They were friendly, generous, supportive. And now Seojun learned the truth. It was all a setup. The Krell had helped humanity specifically so humans would become their protectors. They wanted to use human gratitude as a weapon against their enemies. Seojun felt sick. He called a meeting with his officers. They gathered in the briefing room, all of them veterans of the Gratitude Corps. The Krell played us, Sojun told them. They helped us specifically to manipulate us. They knew we would protect them. They are using our gratitude against us. One of his officers spoke up. What do we do? I do not know, Sojun admitted. They did help us. The technology they gave us was real. It saved lives. By our own rules, we owe them protection. Another officer shook her head. But they manipulated us. They used our culture against us. That is not real kindness. How do we know? Sojun asked. How do we know any kindness is real? The Velen asked for nothing, but maybe they had reasons we do not know. The Lixar gave us food. But maybe they wanted something too. Can we judge the motives behind kindness? Or only the kindness itself? The room was silent. These were humans who had dedicated their lives to protecting their friends. Now they faced an impossible question. What happens when friendship is false? When gratitude is manipulated? Across human space, a historian named Minji published a paper. It spread quickly through all human colonies. She called it, "The Weight of Memory." In it, she argued that humanity had gone too far. That their obsession with gratitude was being weaponized by other species. That humans needed to be wise. Not just grateful, they needed to judge who deserved their protection and who was manipulating them. The paper caused riots on some colonies. Some humans agreed with Minji, others called her a traitor. The debate split humanity down the middle. Yuna read the paper and felt torn. Part of her agreed. Humanity was being manipulated. Other species were using their gratitude against them. But another part of her remembered the stories. The Gray Death. The dying world. The crystal beings who came from across the stars to save them. If humanity stopped being grateful, stopped protecting those who helped them, what would they become? The crisis came to a head when the Krell Empire asked for help. Their enemies, the Selene Coalition, were preparing to attack. The Krell requested that humanity honor their alliance, that humanity protect them as they had protected the Tormen and the Lixar. Seojun received the orders: take the Gratitude Corps to Krell space, defend their borders, fight their war. He stood in the command center and stared at the star map. The Selene were not evil. They had legitimate grievances against the Krell. The Krell had stolen territory, broken treaties, committed crimes. The Selene just wanted justice, but the Krell had helped humanity. By humanity's own rules, that meant something. Yuna arrived at the station. She met with Seojun privately. Both of them looked exhausted. What do we do? Seojun asked. I do not know, Yuna admitted. If we help the Krell, we are fighting an unjust war. If we refuse, we break our own principles. We told the galaxy that we protect those who help us. If we stop now, what is our word worth? Seojun nodded slowly. The galaxy is watching. If we can be manipulated this easily, every species will try. They will give us small gifts, and then demand we fight their wars. We will become mercenaries, except we do not even get paid. We just get used. But if we become suspicious of every kindness, Yuna said, if we question every gift, we lose what makes us human. The Valon saved us. If we had questioned their motives, if we had been suspicious, we would have died. They sat in silence. Outside the window, the Gratitude Corps waited for orders. 500 ships. Thousands of humans. Ready to die. To honor a debt, we need to find a new way, Seojun finally said. We cannot abandon gratitude. But we cannot be blind either. We need wisdom, Yuna nodded. But how do we become wise without becoming cold? How do we judge kindness without destroying it? Neither of them had an answer. The galaxy waited. And humanity faced the hardest question of all. What price is gratitude worth? And when does devotion become destruction? Hana became the prime representative of humanity at the worst possible time. The Krell deception had been exposed. The Selene Coalition provided evidence that the Krell had deliberately manipulated humanity. They gave gifts specifically to turn humans into their guard dogs. They had even bragged about it in their private communications. The revelation nearly tore humanity apart. Some humans wanted to withdraw from galactic politics entirely. Trust no one. Accept no gifts. Build walls and stay behind them. Others wanted revenge against the Krell. A few even suggested abandoning the gratitude doctrine completely. Hana stood before the human assembly, looking at the representatives from every colony. She was 53 years old, with gray in her hair and tired eyes. She had fought for the Gratitude Corps for 20 years. She had watched friends die protecting humanity's allies. Now she had to decide what humanity would become. We have been manipulated, Hana said. The Krell used our culture against us. They studied us and found our weakness. Gratitude. They gave us gifts, knowing we would feel obligated to protect them. They turned our greatest strength into a weapon against us. The assembly was silent. Everyone knew the truth hurt. Hurt deeply. Some of you want us to abandon the gratitude doctrine, Hana continued, to stop protecting our allies, to become suspicious of every gift, to never trust again. She paused. I understand that impulse. I feel it too, but I ask you to think carefully. If we do this, what do we become? A representative stood up. He was old. One of the few still alive who remembered the Gray Death. We become careful. We become wise. We stop being foolish children who trust everyone. Or, Hana said, we become exactly what the Krell wanted us to become. Paranoid. Isolated. Unable to accept kindness. Unable to give it. The Vallons saved us because they believed kindness was worth giving freely. If we lose that, if we become afraid of kindness, the Krell win. They do not just manipulate us. They destroy us. Another representative spoke. This one was young. Maybe 30. But we cannot keep fighting wars for every species that gives us gifts. We cannot let ourselves be used. You are right, Hana agreed. We cannot be blind. We cannot be tools. But we also cannot abandon who we are. She pulled up a holographic display. It showed the philosopher Jiwoo. She had become famous in recent months for her writings on gratitude and wisdom. Jiwoo has been studying this problem, Hana said. She has a proposal. I would like her to present it. Jiwoo appeared in the center of the assembly, a holographic projection from her university. She was young, brilliant, with intense eyes. I have been studying human culture for 10 years, Jiwoo began. What I found is this. Gratitude is not our weakness. It is our strength. But we have been using it wrong. We have been treating all kindness as equal. We have been treating all debts as the same. She brought up images. The Velen saving Earth. The Lixar giving food. The Tormen sharing medical data. The Krell giving technology. These are not the same, Jiwoo said. The Velen crossed the galaxy to save us from extinction. They asked for nothing. They stayed for months. They taught us. They gave freely. That is sacred kindness. That deserves everything we can give. She pointed to another image. The Lixar gave us food during a famine. That is good kindness. That deserves our friendship and our support. But does it deserve a 3-year war? Does it deserve 50,000 dead humans? The assembly was quiet. Everyone was listening. And the Krell, Jiwoo said, gave us technology. But they did it to manipulate us. That is false kindness. That deserves nothing. She looked around the chamber. We need to measure gratitude. Not all gifts are equal. Not all kindness deserves the same response. We need wisdom to judge. We need to ask, was this gift freely given? Was it given to save lives or to manipulate? Was it given with pure intent or with expectations? An older representative stood. How do we judge intent? How do we know? We use our minds, Jiwoo said simply. We investigate. We think. We do not react blindly. The Velen are our sacred duty, because they saved us from extinction with no expectations. But other species deserve measured responses. Good responses, fair responses, but not obsessive ones. Hana spoke again. I propose we reform the gratitude doctrine. We keep it. We honor it. But we add wisdom to it. We judge the weight of kindness. We respond proportionally. We do not abandon gratitude. We mature it. The vote took 3 days. In the end, humanity agreed. The gratitude doctrine would remain, but it would be tempered with wisdom. Not all kindness would be treated the same. The Vallon would always be sacred, but other allies would receive measured support. Hyunwoo commanded a faction of veterans who disagreed. They believed all kindness deserved maximum protection. They thought judging kindness would destroy its purity. But even they could not deny the logic. Humanity could not fight every war, could not save every species. could not die for everyone who showed them a moment of kindness. Then came the crisis that tested everything. The Drexen were dying. The species that had once tried to conquer Earth, that had killed millions of humans in a war 60 years ago, now faced extinction. A plague was destroying them. Their scientists could not stop it. They had months, maybe a year left. The Drexen sent a message to humanity. A simple request. Help us. You have the medical technology. You have the knowledge. Please help us. The galaxy watched. What would humanity do? The Drexen had never helped humanity. They had attacked humanity, killed humans. How could they deserve help? Hana called an emergency session. Hyunwoo argued passionately that humanity should let the Drexen die. They were enemies. They owed humanity nothing. And humanity owed them nothing. Ji-woo argued differently. This is not about debt, she said. This is about who we choose to be. The Drexen do not deserve our gratitude. They never helped us. But we have the power to save them. The question is not what they deserve. The question is what we are. Seojun spoke from his military station. If we help them, we set a new precedent. We do not just protect our friends. We help everyone we can. Even our enemies. Is that wrong? Ji-woo asked. The Velen did not help us because we had helped them. They helped us because they could. Because it was right. If we only help those who help us first, we are not following the Velan's example. We are perverting it. The debate raged for days. Finally, Hana made her decision. We help the Drexen, she said. Not because we owe them. Not because of gratitude. But because we choose to. Because we have the power to save lives, and we will not waste that power on old grudges. She looked at the assembly. This is what separates us from the Krell. They helped us to manipulate us. We will help the Drexen for no reason at all. Just because we can. Just because it is right. The medical teams went to Drexen space. They cured the plague. They saved billions of Drexen. The Drexen were stunned. They could not understand why humanity helped them. A Drexen ambassador came to Earth. He met with Hana privately. Why? The Drexen asked. We tried to destroy you. We killed your people. Why save us? Hana thought for a long time before answering. Because 70 years ago, the Velen taught us something. Kindness does not need a reason. Help does not need justification. You give it because you can, because it is right. We are not helping you because of debt. We are helping you because that is who we have chosen to be. The Drexen ambassador was quiet. Then he said, We do not deserve this. No one deserves kindness, Hana said. That is why it matters. The Velen sent a delegation to Earth. They had been silent for decades, watching humanity struggle with the consequences of gratitude. Now they came to speak. Ji-hoon, now very old for a Velen, stood before the human assembly. He spoke to all of humanity through the broadcast. We helped humanity once, Ji-hoon said. We crossed the galaxy to save you from extinction. We asked for nothing. We expected nothing. We simply helped because it was right. Ji-hoon, he paused, light moving through his crystal body. Then you saved us back. You spent everything to save us. You nearly destroyed yourselves. It frightened us. We thought we had created monsters, beings who could not accept kindness without becoming obsessed with repayment. The assembly was silent. But then you did something we did not expect, Ji-hoon continued. You helped the Drexen. Your enemies. Without debt. Without obligation. Without even being asked. You helped them. Simply because you could. The old Velen looked at Hana. This is what we hoped for. When we first came to Earth, we hoped you would learn. Not just to repay kindness, but to give it freely. To help others not because you owe them, but because you choose to. You have become what we hoped. Not our debtors, but our successors. Tears ran down Hana's face. Across human space, people watched and wept. They understood now. The Velan had not wanted repayment. They had wanted humanity to become like them, to become a species that gave freely. You helped humanity once, Ji-hoon said. And the galaxy has felt the aftermath of your gratitude. Not because you are obsessed with debt, but because you learned what kindness truly means. You learned to give without expecting return, to help without needing reason, to save lives simply because you can. He bowed, a gesture the Velan had learned from humans. Thank you for learning. Thank you for becoming more than we saved. Thank you for becoming teachers yourselves. Years later, Hana stood at the observation deck where Minho had once stood. She looked at the stars. So many stars. So many species. Some had helped humanity. Some had hurt humanity. Some had ignored humanity. It did not matter anymore. Humanity had learned the final lesson. Gratitude was important. Remembering kindness was sacred. But true greatness came from giving kindness freely, from helping not because you owed, but because you chose to. The galaxy had indeed felt the aftermath of humanity's gratitude, but not in the way anyone expected, not through obsession or blind loyalty, but through humanity choosing to become what the Velan had always been, givers of kindness, helpers of the dying, saviors who asked for nothing in return. And the galaxy, slowly, began to learn from humanity, just as humanity had learned from the Velan.